has handed down its long-awaited report into the conduct of local councils, finding they've become a hotbed of perceived corruption. Among the watchdog's 31 recommendations is a ban on developer donations. But several council candidates who were found to have breached existing rules won't be prosecuted because of a technicality.
The head of the Crime and Corruption Commission isn't mincing his words, delivering the findings into last year's council elections.
It's certainly at the very least a hotbed for perceived corruption, and that occurs when you have a lack of transparency.
Gold Coast, Moreton Bay, Ipswich and Logan were singled out in the investigation. The CCC's tabled the report in Parliament, with the chairman saying the public's perception is going downhill.
I think it's on the nose. And I think this report indicates the public's pretty right.
The corruption watchdog wants to overhaul electoral laws with 31 recommendations, including a ban on donations from property developers, campaign spending caps, real-time disclosure of electoral expenditure, and improvements to how councillors manage conflicts of interest.
What this does is it makes the whole system infinitely more transparent.
The Gold Coast Mayor won't be pursued despite the report finding he failed to run a dedicated campaign bank account. The Moreton Bay Mayor has also avoided prosecution after paying for joint how-to-vote cards for himself and a block of other candidates. And Ipswich Councillor Paul Tully was found he should have disclosed 3 donations into a community fund bank account, but won't be prosecuted.
It has uncovered widespread non-compliance with offences that are, as I say, termed simple offences, most of which cannot now be prosecuted because they're out of time. But they wouldn't have been the sorts of offences that we would pursue individuals over.
Gold Coast mayoral candidate Penny Toland allegedly failed to declare more than $30,000 in gifts and donations from the CFMEU and might face prosecution. And there's an ongoing investigation into Logan Mayor Luke Smith over links to developers.
Alan McSporran said that this is a broken system that needs to be fixed. We will implement wide-ranging reforms to fix the system.
The Premier has vowed to end developer donations to both local and state candidates and will take all recommendations to Cabinet.
It is absolutely vital that the public has confidence, that there is integrity, that there is transparency.
The Electoral Commission will investigate a number of the outstanding matters.
State political reporter Josh Bavis joins us now live. Josh, why isn't the CCC pursuing a lot of those matters?
Well, Karina, it all comes down to the systemic nature of some of these breaches, with the report finding that they were so widespread among the candidates that it was basically such a huge issue that it's bundled it all up into this report. Under the guidelines, a lot of these lesser breaches can't be investigated past the 12-month time frame. So basically, they've run out of time. But essentially, the ones that can be will be forwarded to the Electoral Commission for further consideration.
And Josh, former Ipswich Mayor Paul Pasali faced the open hearings earlier this year. What did the report find in regards to him?
It really came down to he was under scrutiny for his how-to-vote cards. The report found that his name and image was used on a number of cards of other candidates, so they were acting as a block. The report also found that he was among the top few candidates to receive the most amount of money. At the election last year, he netted about $200,000. Now, of course, at hand, he's got bigger matters to worry about after being charged with attempting to pervert the course of justice and perjury. The CCC wouldn't comment on those, saying that those matters are ongoing and now it's not the time to discuss them.
Josh Bavis reporting from State Parliament. Startling details on the Logan Mayor has rebuffed calls to stand aside amid an ongoing investigation by the Crime and Corruption Commission. The fallout from this week's scathing report into local governments continues, with the Electoral Commission now in line for an overhaul.
Business as usual for the Logan Mayor, promoting careers in local government alongside the Attorney General.
I have a job to do. I'm running the sixth largest city in Australia.
Unlike counterparts in other councils, Mayor Luke Smith is still subject to ongoing CCC investigations. The watchdog is looking into allegations he attempted to influence council decisions on development applications that would benefit donors. Did you coerce council because of donations?
Again, the comments about my actual investigation I cannot make because there's an ongoing investigation. That's all I can say on that matter.
He also wouldn't respond to questions about appearing to mislead the CCC when it asked him about an application from a donor for a new tower in Logan, as reported by ABC last week.
I can't comment any further on that.
The CCC's head doesn't want to discuss ongoing matters just yet.
If they come to something, we'll be publicising that fact. If it comes to nothing, no one's reputation is harmed.
But he has strong words for Gold Coast Mayor Tom Tate, who is being let off, despite failing to run a dedicated campaign bank account during the election.
We have, in public, exposed his behaviour, which frankly, as you put it, is appalling. He should have known better, and he himself acknowledges he should have known better.
The report also focused on how councillors manage conflicts of interest, including Gold Coast councillor Donna Gates, who declared conflicts but still voted in favour of developments linked to donors, as featured in Four Corners.
In every case, she has then voted for the application, as she's entitled to do under the current rules.
There are 77 councils in Queensland. Well, this report was into 4. Clearly, there are probably another half a dozen councils this could apply to, but the great bulk of our councillors never see a political donation and never get themselves into this situation.
The Attorney-General says reforming the laws would give the Electoral Commission more power to prosecute.
I want the ECQ to make sure they're using their teeth.
The Electoral Commission says it's already stretched.
Our focus has been on getting the data out there and disclosing the data. It has not been on chasing prosecutions.
The state government wants these changes but won't say how long it could take. A reform of this magnitude can't be done quickly. It's unlikely before the end of the year. Josh Bavis, ABC News.
Catalonia could declare independence.